Hi everyone, George here. And today I wanted to sit down and make a video and chat with you about a movie that's quite interesting. It's very much a B movie. It's very silly. The writing can be a little dumb, but it's a very special horror film. So today I wanted to sit down and talk to you about the 1980 horror film Motel Hell. This film was directed by Kevin Connor. And he also directed some other films with really fun titles like The Land That Time Forgot and From Beyond the Grave. Also, this film has a fun cast. This film stars Rory Calhoun, Paul Link, Nancy Parsons is in this movie as well. This film also stars Nina Axelrod, Wolfman Jack, also John Ratzenberger's in this film. You know, he played Cliff in Cheers. Well, with that out of the way, let me tell you what this movie is about. And it's a little bit of a weird one. Basically, this movie follows a farmer and his sister who capture travelers that are passing by. They capture them, bury them alive, feed them a special recipe of food, and then slaughter them, and then sell their meat. So this farm is well known for their special meats, and their special meats are people that they capture and kill and slaughter and give out. You know, he captures these people and he buries them alive, but their head is sticking out of the ground, right? And you would think that, okay, these people would be screaming for help, but instead they can't. They make a really gross, zombie-like, gargling, growly sound, and that's because they cut their vocal cords. Vincent and his sister cuts the victim's vocal cords. They have a scar on their throat. He cuts their vocal cords so they can't speak. So they just do like gross, like growling, gargly. It's a really disgusting sound. It's a hard sound to recreate, but it's actually quite gross. And that's why no one hears. So no one's screaming for help from the farm, basically. But if you get closer to the area where these people are buried, you can start hearing these really gross, zombie-like gargling sounds. Yeah, it's a weird one, but it is charming. It is a charming movie. Real quick, I need to just put a disclaimer here that I am going to spoil the movie from beginning to end. So if you have not seen the movie, please shut this video off and go and watch the movie. Then come back and see what I have to say about this film. Because Motel Hell is, it's a weird one, it's a fun one, it's a very much a 1980s roadside horror film, but it's a good one. And I have some fun things I'd like to say about it. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. So go watch the movie, come sit down and hear what I have to say. So when you watch this movie, it's an interesting movie. It's very like cheap and silly and dumb at times, but the movie looks good. There's some good music in it, and there's some really good sound design in this movie as well. In fact, the movie opens up with a peaceful shot. It's a nice calm night outside. You hear just silence and just a man relaxing on his porch in front of his hotel that he owns. There's like these weird quiet moments in the movie. There's, even later on in the movie, there's another scene where two characters are in a boat in a lake. It's just nice, relaxing music, and there's nothing but nature around them. And it's just kind of funny that you would get these shots and these feeling of like calmness in a movie called Motel Hell, where the farmer captures people and cuts them up and sells the meat to the general public. It's just funny that there are these moments in a film like that. So in the very beginning of the movie, Carrie is on the back of a motorcycle and she's with the man, and you know they're together because she's like, there's a shot and she just like kisses him on the cheek and they're driving together. And basically Vincent sets up traps all over the roads near his farm to capture people. That's what he does. The motorcycle gets run off the road. You don't really see which trap was actually used on the motorcycle. The motorcycle just loses control. And they're laying on the ground, unconscious, and he captures them. And there's a scene, he sees Terry laying on the ground, and then he like looks at her, and you could see that he's obviously attracted to her, so he decides not to kill her. So he then brings her to the farm and makes her a member of the family. It's funny, Carrie agrees to stay. Terry mentions it. She's upset that her partner's dead and that Vincent just buried her. That was the other thing too, was like, she wakes up, says, oh, I'm sorry, the man you were with is gone, he didn't survive, and so I buried him in a cemetery. And Vincent's brother, who is the sheriff, was like, oh, okay, and like, but he was fine with it too, because he said, in this county, it's legal for people to bury, like random people to bury other people, apparently. It's really weird. So it's funny is this story is crazy. This is a crazy story. But the filmmaker made a point to try to make this movie logical. Vincent captures Terry and buries her boyfriend and then says, oh, he didn't survive, so I buried him, and then didn't tell the police, who was my brother, the sheriff, and then the sheriff tells Terry, ma'am, it's actually okay for people to bury dead people in this county. It's kind of funny that they just kind of write these extra things in to make it make sense. And so, here's the thing. Later in the movie, Terry falls in love with Vincent. And it's weird. She has Stockholm syndrome. She just falls in love with him. And it's kind of odd that she falls in love with him. They make it a point to make her boyfriend in the beginning of the movie to be an older guy too. Like gray beard, gray hair, balding. They make a point to make him older as well. So I think they were trying to establish she's into older men. So they explain why she suddenly will be in love with Vincent, who is this older guy later in the movie. So it's just kind of funny. Kevin Connor really tried to make this zany movie work. So the other family members of this movie are also kind of crazy. Basically, Ida, who is the sister that helps Vincent capture the people, he gets jealous that there's another, I guess, family member in the house, and she tries to kill Terry. She tries to drown her in the lake. Then Vincent comes and saves Terry, and I guess that's the moment. Like, Terry's laying there. She was in a lake, so she's just like covered in like a blanket. Ooh, she's nude, and she's covered in a blanket, and then she's like, oh, Vincent, I love you. And she just like, she lifts up, she comes up just topless, just like, oh, take me now. And Vincent's like, no, I can't. We got to be married first. So Vincent has certain moral boundaries in his life. It's interesting. In order for him to sleep with someone, he has to be married to them. But he's perfectly okay capturing complete random people, kidnapping them, burying them alive, cutting their vocal cords, forcing them to eat some crazy recipe to make their meat taste good, then slaughter them and sell their meat in the market. It's really weird that Vincent has these strange boundaries in life. Like, he will not sleep with Terry unless they're married. Like, no, she's like right there, just like completely nude, like, take me now. And he's like, no, I can't. I gotta go slaughter these people that I keep captured and captive in my farm for days and weeks. I gotta slaughter them. I gotta sell. That's how we keep the lights on, by selling this meat. I gotta do that. I can't. We gotta be married. And I gotta slaughter people, so no. It's just very funny that Vincent has these like boundaries in life, and he picks and chooses where he doesn't go and where he goes. It's funny. Also, another member of this family, this crazy family, is a character named Bruce. He's the sheriff of this county. And he doesn't know what Vincent and Ida are doing. He doesn't know that his brother Vincent and his sister Ida are capturing people on the roads and like cutting their vocal cords, burying them alive, feeding them some sort of special recipe, and then slaughtering them and selling their meats. He has no idea. And this guy Bruce is in love with Terry. And he's very sketchy too. Everyone's super sketchy in this movie. So Bruce goes on a date with Terry, But I don't think Terry really views it as a date. She'll just like go and like see, she wanted to go see a movie. Basically, Bruce drives his police vehicle with Terry in the passenger seat to this makeout point. And Terry's like very like upset and like scared. Like, hey, this is not the drive-in movie theater. You need to turn around and take me to the drive-in movie theater. This is not okay. And then Bruce is like, watch this. He turns on his lights and says, hey, everyone leave. I know what you're doing out there. And then you see like there's like everyone like runs away. All the cars are like driving away. All the people that were like making out and like doing it in the cars drives off. And then they watch this movie through binoculars. So that's the other thing too. Bruce takes Terry to like this makeout point that's like a mile away from the drive-in movie theater. Gives her binoculars to watch the movie. And then has the audio from the drive-in movie theater come through his like police radio. And somehow that's better than actually being at the drive-in movie theater. Like, you have to look through the binoculars to watch the movie. I don't understand how that's better. But she's okay with it. She thinks it's like super cool. And then, you know, Bruce gets very handsy. She slaps him across the face. Bruce is like shook. And then he smiles. Bruce really liked that. And then he gets like really aggressive with her. Then they're fighting in the car. And then a call for help comes in on the radio. So simultaneously, while this scene was going on, there were two women. They were driving down the road. They see cows in the road. They're clearly like wood cutouts of cows. They're not real cows. You can see they're pieces of wood cut in the shape of cows and painted. They're like cartoon cows in the road. Basically, it's like a trap that the Wile E. Coyote would put in the road to capture the Roadrunner in the Looney Tunes cartoons. The woman stops. There's the two women in the car. She stops the car, honking the horn. They're super annoyed that there's these cows in the road. They're like, oh my God, there's cows in the road. And then they realize, oh wait, they're not cows. And then they dare each other. Hey, you gotta go, one of you go out, move it. And they're like, no, you move out. You get out there and you move it. So eventually one of them gets out of the car, walks up and starts moving. These stupid kids putting these wooden cows in the road. I don't know. And then Vincent pops out, drugs one of the women. And that's what the call for help is. Basically, the other one in the car freaks out and then drives away. And she's on her radio. I guess they also have a radio in their car. I don't know. I guess in 1980, when you're out in the middle of the countryside, you drive around with a car with a radio and you could just call for help whenever you need it. So that's what happened is this woman's screaming for help while Vincent's in his truck chasing the lady. So this call for help from this woman who thought wooden cutouts of cows were real cows for a moment. She's calling for help, being chased by Vincent. This call is actually what maybe saves Terry from being assaulted by Bruce. So basically, this call comes in, interrupts Bruce attacking Terry in the car, getting very aggressive in the car. And then everything's okay. Then they're like, oh, we gotta go check out what's happening. And so Bruce becomes a hero again and going like, we gotta go find these people. And Terry's like totally into it. I guess Terry forgot just how aggressive he was like a minute ago. And they're going and they're following like trying to find where this call is coming from. And they're like racing down the road. And basically what happens is Vincent runs this car off the road. And I don't know, I think this woman faints. She literally just like passes out in her car. So she passes out and Vincent runs the car into a lake. And then Vincent pushes the car into the lake. And the car sinks in the lake. And that somehow, this chase makes Terry totally cool with Bruce again. This scene right here, this scene is like a great example of just how loony and zany this movie really is. That, I don't know, Terry's just super cool with Bruce. Like, oh yeah, you tried to assault me like a minute ago, but it's okay, because now we're trying to save a person. So it's fine. Okay, let's talk about this kinky couple that comes to the hotel. Like these two people, this man and this woman, come to the hotel. The guy just like shows up, just takes the meat. He starts eating the meat because no one's there at the front desk yet. And he literally is just like eating the meat. He doesn't buy the meat. He just grabs and just starts eating it. That is right there in like their lobby. Basically, they wanted to get the meat that the farm is famous for and spend a night at their hotel. And they even invited Vincent and the sister to join them. They were kind of weird. They were very kinky in a weird way. Basically, they get a room. The husband is like shaving his body. And while the woman is waiting, she has a whip. And she just starts destroying the room. She just starts whipping the room. She destroys lamps and other objects in the room. She just starts destroying the room with the whip. It's a really odd scene that is funny and just like you're laughing because like you're wondering what the heck is going on in this movie right now. He comes in. The woman then starts covering him in oil. And then Vincent and the sister come in and they have ropes and stuff and they get very excited. And they lay on the bed and get ready to be tied up. And then they get tied up and captured. And so, I don't know, it's just that there's not a lot of extra characters in this movie. But when there are extra characters, there certainly are characters you do not forget. Like in the beginning of the movie, there's a family with these kids that like snoop around. They're kind of like normal to a degree, but they are also kind of odd because they're like cool with like Vincent calming the kids down by screaming at them. So this is what happens in the beginning of the movie. These two children sneak in to the farm and see some slaughtered animals, are scared, and they run screaming back to the car. Vincent is talking to the mom and the father, and then like, oh, you know, they bought the meats, and they're like, oh, you know, all this pleasantries they're doing. They get back in the car. The kids are hysterical right now because they are terrified. And Vincent offers to calm them down. And he calms them down by going, rah! He just screams at them. And there's like a second they're a little weirded out, but then they're like, whatever. And they get in the car and they drive away. There's just some interesting extra characters in this movie. There's also the rock band Ivan and the Terribles. One of the members of this rock band is Cliff from Cheers. So what? Cheers premiered in 1982. And so this movie came out in 1980. So this was before Cheers. So, you know, no one was watching this movie back in 1980 and be like, oh my gosh, it's Cliff from Cheers. But you watch it now, and if you're a fan of Cheers, you'll watch it and be like, is that Cliff? That's gotta be, yeah, that's Cliff. Cliff from Cheers. It's just really funny. He's not in the movie a lot, but when you see him, you're kind of like, no. It's just funny is that like, there's the main characters and all of them are crazy, and then any other side character, any other little character they encounter in the movie is also just as loony as they are. Also, it's funny is this movie has a lesson. It teaches you a lesson. There's a moral to this story. And it's not the one you think of. It's not like it's anything to do with the main characters and like, hey, just stay away from farmers that appear nice and don't stay at a place that has motel and the O is gone and it says Motel Hell on the sign. No. The lesson learned in this movie is from Bob the health inspector. Bob the health inspector went above and beyond in his job. He went to do his normal inspection of the place, of the farm, right? And he heard some sounds in the distance. And he was curious what it was. He started like snooping around. And then he left, right? He comes back later that night and like sneaks in and tries to find where these noises are coming from. He actually climbs the wall, he trespasses, and he actually discovers this farm of people. There's all these like burlap sacks, and they're moving around, and they're making these strange zombie-like gargling, growling sounds. And he goes, lifts them up, and he sees there are people in these holes. There's these people buried up to their neck, and they're screaming and they're wriggling, but they're not screaming. They're making this weird zombie gargling sound. And then Bob gets captured. Bob, the health inspector, did more than what was expected at his job. And he paid the price for it. He got captured, and he got his vocal cords cut. He survives the movie. He doesn't die. But yeah, I don't think he'll be able to talk again for the rest of his life. But he survives. But, there's a lesson learned here that maybe you don't go beyond what you're supposed to do in your workplace. I'm not saying how you should do your job. And, hey, it's always good to be the very best at what you can be. But Bob the health inspector tried really hard to be a good health inspector, and he paid the price for it. He went above and beyond, and all he needed to do was just do his job. And then when 5 o'clock rolled around, he was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I got to go home and watch the game or something. That's what Bob should have done. But instead, he decided to go above and beyond and decided to sneak in the middle of the night. And then he got captured and got his vocal cord slit. Also, what makes this movie so special is that there's a chainsaw fight in the movie. So Bruce is in love with Terry. But Terry doesn't want Bruce. Terry is in love with Vincent. And he finds out from Wolfman Jack's character that Vincent is getting married to Terry. And Bruce is so angry. And he thinks she's held captive. And they're forcing her into marriage and stuff like that, right? So he races to the farm and demands to put an end to this. And Terry is like, no, I love him. I love Vincent. No. And Vincent shows up and holds a shotgun to him, threatens his life. And then Bruce is like, okay, easy, I'm just joking. Anyway, so the relationship gets really bad by that point. And basically, Vincent chases Bruce out of his farm. And then in a scene later on, Bruce finds the car of the victim that Vincent ran off the road. So what happened was he asked Vincent and Ida if they heard anything on the radio about a call for help. And Ida and Vincent said, oh, it's just people playing jokes, people playing pranks. So when he finds this car, when Bruce finds the car and he sees the articles of belongings to this woman, he puts two and two together and realizes that Vincent and Ida are up to no good. And so this then leads Bruce realizing that Vincent and Ida are not good people and he needs to go rescue Terry. And when he goes, this is when the big shebang, the big finale happens. He goes, and what happens is Terry's boyfriend from the beginning of the movie is the one that shakes free from his hole. He climbs out. He has his vocal cords cut, so he sounds like a zombie. He climbs out of his hole, and he helps everyone else out. And there's just a group of people, and they're all moving around like they're zombies. They look like they're zombies, but they're like people alive. They just have their vocal cords cut. But I guess they're all shaken, and their bodies are all cramped up and jointed. Joints are sore because they've been buried and crammed in this hole for days, maybe even weeks. They go and attack Ida. The boyfriend goes and finds Vincent standing over an unconscious Terry. He jumps down, fights Vincent. Vincent kills the boyfriend. So that's the thing. Terry never finds out that the boyfriend actually survived. I mean, technically he dies. He dies in that moment, that scene. But she never sees that, oh, he was alive this whole time. She never sees that. There's no acknowledgement of this after that scene. After the scene when you see him, that's it. Basically, Vincent kills this guy, and Terry never finds out that he was alive this whole time, and he tries to save her. Instead, the hero of this movie is Bruce. The man that tried to assault her in his cop car is the hero of this movie. He comes to the rescue. He gets into a chainsaw fight with his brother. So Bruce and Vincent get into this chainsaw fight. And Vincent is wearing a pig's head. And the pig's head looks cute. It's a very fun, cartoony pig's head. It's got a little smile. It's got button eyes. I don't know. It doesn't look scary. It looks cute, actually. And he's having a chainsaw fight. In the end, Bruce wins. And the way Bruce wins is Bruce swings, misses, has his chainsaw stuck in one of the poles. Then Vincent swings his chainsaw, loses his balance a bit, and falls into the chainsaw into Bruce's chainsaw that is stuck in the pole, and his side is getting cut. That's how this battle ends. They both were so inefficient with their chainsaws that basically Bruce's chainsaw that is stuck in the pole takes out Vincent, who just loses his balance because he swung and missed and fell into this chainsaw. So that's how it ends. They both are not very good at fighting with a chainsaw, but I don't know who really is in life, you know, because it's kind of a weird weapon to have. But they both are not very good fighting with chainsaws. It somehow ends up with Bruce winning, and Bruce becomes the hero. And then Bruce and Terry just like go off in the sunset. And like, he's the hero of this movie somehow. It's crazy to me that Bruce is the hero of the movie and not the boyfriend in the beginning. Like, better writing would have been that Bruce maybe would have sacrificed himself in the end to save Terry. You know, that would have made Bruce more likable. But Terry and the boyfriend are the ones that go off in the end, like ride off in the sunset. That would have been the better in my personal opinion. In my personal opinion, the better ending would have been Bruce sacrifices himself, takes out Vincent in the process, makes the audience likes Bruce because of that. Terry and the boyfriend just ride off together in their motorcycle that they had in the beginning of the movie. They get their motorcycle and they ride off into the sunset. And then there's like music playing, you know, like credits rolling while they're like riding off in the distance. And I think that would have been the better movie. Instead, you have this weird movie where like no one likable in this movie succeeds. The ending does bother me. For a movie that's like a horror comedy, they could have had a little bit happier of an ending. Also, so these people who like climb out of their holes attack Ida. And in the end, you discover Ida was buried where all the people are buried. And there's a burlap sack sticking out of the ground. And you think that you lift up the burlap sack and you'll see Ida's head there. Instead, Bruce and Terry go over to the burlap sack, lift it up, and it's actually Ida's feet. She was buried upside down, so she's suffocated to death. But you see, she wriggles for a second, her feet go crazy, then just fall limp, and you assume that she's dead. And also, there is a little bit of revenge that happens in the movie. Bob, the health inspector, is one of the people that overwhelms Ida in the movie. And you know that once they're done with Ida, they just run away. So, you know, Bob survived. So, that's all I have to say about the movie Motel Hell. It's definitely a movie that deserves your attention. You know, don't watch this movie thinking you're going to watch something spectacular. You're not going to see something as good as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You're not going to see some sweeping epic like Lawrence of Arabia. Of course, you're not going to see something like Lawrence of Arabia. And you're certainly not going to see something like Casablanca either. But you are going to see something quite fun, quite weird. And that is why I highly recommend that you watch Motel Hell. You are not going to see something groundbreaking by any means, but you are going to see a fun 1980s horror comedy that takes place in this weird setting. It's a bit unique, and you won't be disappointed. Just go in it understanding that you're not going to see something groundbreaking. You're not going to see you're not going to see like a movie like 12 Angry Men. You're going to see a movie called Motel Hell. You know, go into it expecting that you're going to watch a movie with that kind of title, and you will be rewarded something special. So if you have some time and you want to watch a fun roadside attraction horror film, then I highly recommend that you watch Motel Hell. Bye.